I'm just pointing it out.
It's a little bit surprising. I think the last qualifiers for Southeast Asia was a lot of 2-0s for the Dream League qualifiers. So getting a bunch of 2-1s is maybe an overcorrection from the region. We'll see, Mike, as we do go into the game.
Yeah.
I don't think teams plan that out, but maybe that's one factor. You know, Aurora's like, yeah, we don't want to have to face Neon again. Let's knock them down in a 3-game series. We know they're gonna have to play again. You know, this is the way. This is the min-maxing of every aspect of comp play, Mike.
Just destroy them. Absolutely remove them from the tournament as Castaway. Gonna break the smoke of Q. I'm just gonna try and cut off Castaway anyway. They could have screwed up the shards if they really wanted to, but Castaway already starting with the voice lines here. Quick little tip out to Og.
As they have kept up, always tipping Ollie. Good old friends.
Yeah. I mean, he does block out both the camps and the triangle. So no real stacking to be had here for Neon until they sort those out. Be very, very annoying. Especially when you have an Ursa who is just going to rush the Battle Fury as per always.
Yeah, and you know, you're up against a Shadow Demon who will want to stack as early as possible, so you're going to miss out on at least 1, maybe 2 sets of stacks, which is really painful when you're trying to play the strat.
There's going to be a 2-for-2 trade on the bounty runes here as well. See how quickly Bombi does react to these sentry placements? Like, you know, it's 1 stack's okay, but when you start venturing into the 3-4 stack territory, it's when you start getting a little bit more concerned. We'll see, as we are of course going to start with the mid lane where Armel and Ken are going to be going at it on the classic Ember vs Storm matchup. I don't believe it's changed too much as well.
No, it's still pretty much the same. It's down to the players. It's down to how well they manage their lane. Ken has some play, but the level 3 spike of Armel can be pretty threatening as well. So just have to have some caution there into the build-up for Ken. I would say that it is marginally easier for an Ember, but again, this is still plenty playable for a Storm, especially if you can try to abuse the Remnants and the Overload. So just going to be down to how well you can put yourself and how well you position these creeps here. Down bot, taking a look there. You do have this really good self-setup lane with Disrupt into Skewer back for JG. Again, for the Magnus in this matchup up against Luna, you've got the option to actually just go for Empower. Just go for Greed. Just go for Farm, just because Empower Cleave will almost always hit this Luna. Her range is just not big enough to avoid that. So I'm keen to see what JG will want, whether or not he wants that offense from Skewer, wants the burst potential of Shockwave, or just wants a steady farm with Empower. He has all options here.
Certainly does. JG obviously proving to us he's an absolute expert on this hero anyway during game number 1. We'll trust the man's judgment as to what skill build he does go for. Of course, top lane, CDR and Castaway going to be going at it against Jabs and Q. It could be a pretty awkward lane for CDR. Like, it is against the Razor after all. Static Link's going to be very, very annoying to try and play against. You do have some gameplay here with Castaway, just slowing him up with the enchant. You know, you have a nice kind of way of stopping the Static Link early, but CDR might still find himself in a bit of a bother.
Yeah, this is a pretty scary lane for the Ursa, especially as Q gets his levels. Like, once he has the Shard and the Snowball stun, being on top, getting shards onto that Ursa, when you see him commit as well with the Urchok, just makes it an easy rundown for Jabs. And that should lead to a much more farm-oriented time here for Chidori. Just not going to be looking for that offense as much. And that leads to some good level timings for Jabs. Once you hit level 3, level 4 on this duo, things start to get a little bit scary for the side of Neon. And, of course, Q on the Tusk has a lot of rotation opportunities as well onto the mid, which you have to respect for a player like Q.
He certainly does. Fight over the Lotus Pool down to this bot lane. JG has managed to pick it up. Savage can take a bit of damage on the way out, though JG does lose his courier. Does lose something for that Lotus. Seems like he's having a pretty good time against this Luna, though, for now. JG not really struggling too much. Savage playing very on edge as well. Doesn't want to get skewered back too far. Was Bombi looking to stack up as many Shadow Poisons as possible. Was Castaway in danger, is going to go down. Jabs able to pick up first blood, though can he survive the damage output of CDR now? Oh, that's a great snowball from Q. He's going to bide the space. So Ollie does also go down to the bottom lane, and with nothing is really found here for Neon at the top.
It's that level timing we were talking about. Just having Snowball and Shards up, the level 3 with the level 2 static link for Jabs. Easy pickings when you find that Ench. Even the Ursa could be a really viable target as well. And Neon just have to play it so safe. They don't have as much in trying to fight up against that. And Q, again, he is a monster on this Tusk. They are putting a lot of pressure down bot. Savage not the healthiest, but will be able to find a salve, not broken as well by Bombi. So going to be able to keep that farm game up. Has been a slower lane for our Luna than it has been for our Ursa, but your flash farm potential on this Luna is pretty damn high anyway. So you should still be set to have a strong bounce back here for Savage, especially considering, again, Bombi hasn't scouted out these sentries. So no stacks still at 4 minutes in.
It's pretty rough. That is a little bit rough here for old Bombi. Maybe just never even had the chance to walk into that triangle and actually see that there's wards there just blocking them off. Who the hell knows? But for now, it looks like they are just going to be left to expire eventually on their own. Is I suppose one way to deal with them, John, just let them expire. You, Castaway. Nice little wild rocket trip, trick up towards the north. Jabs. Who in trouble now? He's going to be chased down by CDR, and he is gone. It's a very nice hurricane committed by Castaway to ensure they could not secure a kill onto him.
And managing to find a bigger kill this time around in that trade, finding the offlane Razor. Nice injection for CDR to play with. Is, as you mentioned, still trying to go for that full Battle Fury in this game, despite having the Magnus to fall back to. So will want everything he can find to start escalating his own farm at the same pace the Luna would. So I don't think that's going to hold Aurora back. I mean, Q is still gunning for a position here.
Won't find one. Castaway is going to force him back anyway, so... As the threat, though, of the initiation is what really is scary here for the side of Neon. Rotations into the mid lane now between Castaway and Q, just trying to fight over the 6-minute power runes, and it seems like Kenny is going to get lucky. He's going to a shield rune for himself here on the Ember Spirit. Of course, between the Storm and the Ember matchup, it's always so important, those initial power runes. This time around, Kenny is able to pick it up.
Allows him to try to play aggressive with that early 6. Wants to be able to find Q before the Wisdom Runes come in.
You don't have chains, though. I mean, maybe he can just stick around this area and secure that Wisdom Rune. It is going to be a lot of time being used up for this. More rotations probably going to be incoming as well from Aurora if they feel like they need it. Ken has indeed chosen to stick around. He'll go for a chase onto Jabs. Jabs going to go for the link out and immediately be broken. Jabs, oh boy, he could be in danger, but here comes Armel. They're off to CDR. CDR already losing so much of his HP pool, but they are going to lose Jabs. The Wisdom Rune will be left, though. No, never mind, it won't be Ken. He's going to try and swipe it away, but Q does pick it up. Gets the start off. It may cost his life, but they found both Wisdom Runes. In fact, here comes Ollie, just ensuring they get something for their trouble. They'll take down Bombi. Ken still on the run, trying to TP away, is going to make it out. So all in all, not the worst case scenario here for Neon, but they do lose both Wisdom Runes in that engagement.
That's a massive loss to have. I'd say that's still a massive win for Aurora, considering the supports you have here for Aurora. Like, you've got a Lion and a Tusk. Both of these heroes want some really fast 6s. Ollie is only about 100 EXP away, 170 EXP away from that level 6 finger. So the burst damage is going to start to build up a lot faster than you'd expect here for Neon. And they're going to have to try to deal with it. Because once they chain stun on top, any of these heroes are very viable targets to just burst. The one thing that you do get here, though, is that Armel doesn't have that much mana on his return on mid. Does get lucky with the Arcane. So he's going to be pretty happy with that, but it does give some room for Ken to play. And you freed up the bot lane for JG to just clear out and farm up. So they'll be able to find a tier 1 tower. Top will be shoved in by Aurora in response, but they've got time to kind of go back there for the defense if they wished on Neon's end.
They may. At the very least, Castaway is going to use the twin gates to fly through. Jabs feeling confident after that last engagement. Castaway's going to find Ollie in the tree line. Zip in from Armel to ensure that they will lose Castle. Like CDR also getting caught in the shards of Q, but Q not able to lock him down long enough. In fact, now the snowball to go past the Ursa. The Ursa going to be perfectly fine. In fact, now they've gone a bit too far. Q maybe dragging his team into the depths. Although nice earth spike out, catching CDR. CDR's down. The RP though. JG locking a couple down, but it won't matter. They don't have the damage. Not without the Ursa, they don't. JG is gone. Ken will at least find Ollie on the line, but it's still looking pretty damn good for Aurora. Q may go down to boot though, and it seems as though he will. Bombi able to secure another kill for his team, but it's really only supports going down for the price of cause. So Aurora should be still pretty happy with the way that engagement went.
They got a good position. They got a good spike on the level 6 finally coming in there for Ollie to find that finger and the burst. I mean, you find everything you wish for as the supports there. And this side of Neon, the response just maybe a little bit slower on the mark. You know, if Ken was around earlier for that movement up top, if they were more immediate in the response to the top push after taking bot, you could have lined up for a much better angle for this RP play on JG. You could have had more damage popping in early from Ken. And then Aurora take advantage of that hesitation. It's Armel.
Well, actually, 23 Savage down at that bottom lane could be in a spot of danger as well. Armel, but now is going to be okay. Does get the zip away. It's a nice skewer attempt there to try and lock him down, but it's not quite work out. Savage dropped extremely low himself against the Ursa just earlier, but luckily for Savage, he was able to run away from CDR. Armel has still been scouted out here by Bombi, but Armel going to be able to retreat just fine.
Radiant structures are fortified.
He's going to go back to farming, try to build into that Witchblade. And I don't know if he's going to be rushing the Parasma this time around, but certainly has the room to do so. Top still being sieged by the side of Aurora. We'll eventually find it with siege creep. And they do protect it with Jab's body as well to guarantee that push. Lots of sentries coming out here from the side of Neon to try to get the information game away from that area. Just try to get a safe farming spot for JG to sit at. And they just toss CDR down bot to keep his own farm game going. Battle Fury is still a ways off for the Ursa. And you are seeing that farm difference start to kick in for 23, as is the nature of the Luna. Smoke out for the side of Aurora here, with Armel taking point with Jabs.
Just find the Castaway. Actually, they completely avoid him for now. We'll head up towards the north, try to see if they can find anyone in that newer part of the jungle. And eventually, they are going to find Castaway. It's not the biggest kill in the world, but they'll just take it. Take what you can get. They will not get the finger stack though for Ollie. Ollie may be using the finger a little bit too early, so misses out on a bit of bonus damage, but that's about it.
Not the biggest loss. You still get some action going with that finger going off cooldown, so you're more than happy as a Lion to just have that timing pretty much as it goes off. Side of Neon are just using this time to farm. Really good bait out with Castaway. This time his deaths are amounting to a good chunk of farm. Farm distribution of Neon is pretty even with Aurora. Network lead of Aurora is not massive just yet. And again, you have some stuff to wait for here. You need to have that blink up on JG. And you need this Mage Slayer to be ready on Ken. And again, Battle Fury for CDR still a ways off. The one thing that you haven't been able to build up on Neon really is the stacks though. Which is again a little bit surprising when you are running Shadow Demon. Triangle is kind of built up at the very least. Maybe a couple of stacks there would be juicy once they can get that. And Neon now trying to find something with their own smoke out.
I'm going to find Jabs. The Razor disruption to lock him down for a little bit, just ensuring the static link could not continue. Ken does not have chains available, but Jabs, he will still tie to the remnant damage on the way out. They're barely able to take down the Razor once again. Jabs, all things being said and done, you know, not having the greatest time. And Neon Esports have done a pretty damn good job of finding a way of dealing with this offlane Razor. Just sitting at 1-3-3 in terms of scoreline. I suppose you could make the argument it is taking a lot of attention away from Savage and Armel, but I'm just not sure how much use you're going to get out of this offlane Razor at this stage.
Yeah, it's going to take a while for Jabs to have that presence. He is going for the Orchid. Bit of a smoke and gate usage here from Neon sneaking in bot. They've got a good pincer here with Ken. But they do see Ken sneaking around here as well. So it's a little bit of a tougher angle, but that fresh blink on JG, he wants to get that RP going.
Ken's going to be just fine to avoid the initial Earth Spike. We'll move up again. Armel in a position to just try and jump the backline if he needs to, and he will. Looking for JG on the Magnus, not allowing the blink in for the RP. Ken will just retreat back now as they're going to jump in on Bombi, but Bombi will get the disruption off for now. Eventually though, Bombi should just die, as JG is still unable to get the blink off for the RP, so we'll go for the skewer instead, fighting 2 targets, but where's the damage? Oh, there's no damage! CDR, he wasn't prepped for that. He wasn't ready to jump in. They are still going to go for the fight, but it seems as though Aurora are well and truly in a position to go for this fight now. They'll chase that cast. Oh, never mind. CDR, he annihilates Jabs, but it costs him his own life. Ollie was ready with the finger. So you get the offlane Razor, but it's at the cost of your Ursa. It's not going to feel too good.
No. Not the kind of fight you wanted here from the side of Neon. So many good opportunities for JG to find that blink and RP in that tight area, but just a constant spam from Armel, understanding that he cannot allow JG to repeat that performance from game 1, denying him the usage of his blink. And again, a little bit of a lack of coordination on that bigger RP. You've got the damage, you've got the cleave ready on CDR, he had Empower running as well. Just not quite the skewer back that he was expecting, skewered away from him instead, and not having the ability to use the Earthshock to jump forward and gap close. 8-7, still a really tight game between Aurora and Neon. These fights have been pretty split between both sides. Slight net worth lead coming out to Neon. Just a little bit healthier farm coming out for Ken and for CDR. I think it is a little bit concerning that Jabs and Armel are behind in farm. But knowing Aurora, this is exactly where they tend to play. In that precipice of trying to stall the game out for these timings. Q almost has a blink, and Armel finds Castaway.
He doesn't hop around him though. JG can skewer back Armel. Armel already quite low on mana. In fact, he's completely out of mana now. Bombi did commit the demonic purge onto the storm. Bombi is going to be alright. In fact, I say Bombi. Armel is also going to be alright. We'll have Ollie there to give him that mana drain. Pop him up, but nothing comes out of that engagement.
Gotta love line.
Yeah.
Mana drain on allies.
What a hero.
Ain't it sweet.
What a
You know,
hero.
before the channeling transfers from mana were nerfed, this was so bad. This is so amazingly bad. Like 120 man per second. it was just silly. I think we saw what? Maybe Whitebond utilize that, I think, at some point. I forget which team he was on that time, but I do remember Whitemon playing a Lion and going for that drain, so it was funny.
It was.
I mean, but, you know, it's not as strong now, sadly. It makes me a bit sad, Mike, thinking back what we could have had.
What could have been, Jonathan? What could have been? Sometimes it's just not meant to be, you know? What can you do? Top lane, the Jabs, the pings were out. It seems like they've spotted the Razor once again. And Jabs is going to just TP away. Just understanding they are probably coming. Doesn't have his full BKB up as well. So if you are Jabs, you know, you've had a tough game. The last few fights have not been very fun for you as the Razor, but now with the BKB up, at least you'd assume they can't just delete you completely within a second.
Yeah,
you just
should allow. Yeah, I think the only thing threatening would probably be just chain stun RP, and the physical output doesn't really care for that. I think it's really just to prevent probably just being held down by Bombi. Even then, demonic purge can still be an issue. Smoke out from Aurora with that item. Even Savage joining in for this one.
Absolutely. Large forward from Armel. Find Bombi here, though. Jump is there from CDR, almost destroying Armel. He just melted so darn quickly to the damage output. And Armel barely able to zip away in time. Zolly once again will hand over the regen with the mana. Meanwhile, Q still messing around here with CDR. Will pay for it with his life by the seams of it. And he will. This Ursa is looking very, very scary.
I mean, there's just so much damage Battle Fury plus Empower. It's just a threatening amount of output right now. Again, that's where this BKB of Jabs maybe falls a little bit flat. Sure, he's going to be able to stand up front for the most part, but their one big teamfight tool, RP, doesn't care for the BKB. Their damage on the side of Neon, for the most part, really doesn't care for BKBs either. And outside of RP, you still have Demonic Purge as well. So, it's the impact of the Razor, it's going to be harder to measure. Roshan opened up, as you tend to see with Ursa drafts as well, and it's not going to take him too long to find that. Neon setting up for a pretty good time into the mid-game here, 20 minutes in. They can keep forcing this pressure out.
I mean, they certainly can. Neon in a prime position here to take this game number 3. His Jabs again has been caught. JG, perfect skew round on the Razor. They want more. Ken, he's having a hunt around, though he barely misses out on finding Armel with the chains.
Is under attack.
Still, you see this Razor, he just can't survive. Just can't make it out of these little skirmishes. And,
Radiant's
you know, this Ursa's well and truly online. I just question whether Savage is going to have enough damage and enough farm to actually fight this Ursa once he hit the late game.
The core-to-core matchup is an interesting prospect because Luna can...
Get the Hex off. He got no one. Okay. I mean, I guess CDR was not expecting that. They will get rid of the Aegis. That's one way to lose.
Nice way to take it out, but Neon are more than willing to take this follow-up fight now. No scare on the burst, with Lai not having finger up, so the instant delete button is taken out. Smoke will amount to nothing, though, for the side of Neon. And for Aurora, that does stall out onto the tier 2 push, right? You don't have to worry about them trying to get ultra aggressive off the back of this Ursa at this point. Although the formation of Neon is still set for trying to find that opportunity. You are inching into some big timings here for the side of Neon as well. BKB is being formed up by JG, by CDR, and the Ags being formed up by Ken, already having his BKB on hand. It's going to be tougher to deal with. Like, all you have to contend with the BKBs is really the Walrus Punch. Ags for Q still a ways off. At that point, it can start to feel a little bit easier to try to pull someone back here, but it's going to take a little bit more patience while waiting for that Philostone to come back to get some work done. So, shall see. So far, though, I think this pace of the game does favor Neon heavily. It's like what you said. Like, the Luna versus Ursa matchup, it's not as bad as it used to be because of the Luna Shard, I want to say, but it's still definitely something Ursa enjoys. And that is not something that will hold Ursa back at all.
I think what concerns me, like, more so than usual is the fact that you have an Ursa with a mag, right? It's just the Empower plus the fact that JG's been playing out of his mind on this hero. We saw earlier, like, the heroes in Aurora, if they get jumped by this Ursa for a split second, they're getting ripped to shreds so quick. I do wonder how much those Moonglaves are going to help keep the Luna alive. We will see, as time does go on, whether the Savage Luna can start to slowly overtake this Ursa. I mean, for now, he is ahead in terms of net worth, but it just doesn't feel that way when you see a big 5v5 team fight happening. It certainly does not feel like he's the bigger call right now.
It's reminiscent of Game 1, Mike, right? Like, with his Alchemist, he was #1 in net worth, but the sacrifices Jabs and Armel had to make were huge. It's not as big just yet here. You know, Jabs and Armel are at least tied up with JG's farm, but there is a sizable gap with, like, Ken and CDR, and not big enough of a gap with Savage and CDR to justify that just yet. So, almost reminiscent of Game 1, purely off the back of probably just how well JG is just working on this Magnus, and with how well Ken is doing as well on his Ember. I think they will need to start to secure some tier 2s. I think there's still a little bit too much map space for Aurora to play with to make Neon very comfy, but they are clumped up to try to take care of that tier 2 bot here.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Well, hang around on tier 2 tower. He's now officially under siege.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Tier 2. There's going to be no defense to come here from Aurora. They are going to let this one go down for free. Brasma now completed on Armel, so So pretty big spike for him on the Storm. Is it going to make all the difference? I don't
Dire's
think
top
so,
tower
but we'll have
is
to
under
wait and see
attack.
what Armel can get done with this. Or even Q already building up the Ags now on the Tusk, just trying to have that Walrus kick ready where necessary. Almost wishes he was just probably playing with the Tiny here instead of
Dire's
the
top
Tusk.
tower is under attack.
We'll have the Ags eventually.
I think it's better to have the Tusk, purely because of the BKBs. Tiny won't be able to do anything against them, but Tusk will have 2 BKB pierces in the punch and the kickback. So overall, this does pan out for the side of Aurora. It's just a patience game. It's time for them to stall out, and if Neon coast their way through here and don't apply enough pressure, again, this is where Aurora shines. Aurora shines in a dull moment in the game. You know, if you have this dull moment carry on to 30 minutes to 35, things can go pretty scary with how well they can utilize that additional farm. Neon trying to prevent that.
Armel, he will see the smoke broken on JG.
Dire's bottom
Zips
tower
away.
is under attack.
CDR is actually on the chase here. Armel completely out of mana now. Going to try and go for perhaps the Lotuses, but no, has to leave it. He has no way out. He'll zip one more time, but that was the Soaring committed. Oh, he zipped right past CDR. Probably had a heart attack once he did it too. Just knowing he was screwed after that. Robbie. He's going to find Ollie. Bit of a cherry on top here, bit of a bonus. Ollie's going to go for a run, but it's pretty hard to see him actually surviving this. He will indeed go down to CDR once again here on the Ursa. Another great set of kills here for the side of Neon, John. One step closer.
Yeah. 8-11, 3k up. And again, not relenting. That's exactly what we needed to see from Neon right at that time. Just make a play, shrink down the map a little bit more for Aurora. Top lane still being shoved into Aurora's favor. So they will have that protection for themselves. But mid is set to be the next objective for Neon to find. They've got the damage. Siege creep up as well. Even just Ember would empower and do quite a ton of work. They're not fully committing on Neon. Again, being cautious, not wanting to give too many openings away. Are just equalizing top first. But they've still got the tools ready. They've got Blink RP set to go. They've still got 9-second BKBs on both of their cores that farmed it. On the Ember, on the Mag, heck, even CDR as well. So, long duration BKB set to go. RP set to go. If they catch Armel again, that should be the opening they need to have the confidence to rip into tier 2s.
For now, Neon is just going to sit back and keep the farm going. Thing is, TDR's almost got a basher up. It feels like once the basher's up, then you're in huge danger against the Ursa, because it only takes one bash. It's all he requires. A Savage. RP is out. JG's caught the big one. He has got the big target. Savage is going to try and BKB through this, but it means nothing. It meant nothing. CDR now looking for the team fight, that the buybacks are incoming. Ollie to join the fray once again. Bombi may just go down. CDR also to go. In fact, they'll even find Armel, but it's still a decent fight here for the side of Aurora. Is Ken dropping low, but JG!
Oh!
JG with a 3-man skew around. Jabs is gone. Holy! He just set up perfectly for Ken.
They cannot give JG Magnus. They should have learned that
My
lesson
goodness.
from game 1. And he does it again. A perfect position, great RP, great skewer back to provide for Ken to clean up. Chidori was stuck in a little bit of a rough spot in the middle. Not able to really try to jump away. Good static link from Jabs to cut him off as well, but it's just not enough. You find 2 for 4. You find the middle racks as well for the side of Neon, and now Roche is going to be up. The respawn of CDR does mean there's time here for Aurora to regroup and try to contest that. But it's an Ursa. It's an Ursa that's going to be running up for a top Roche, dire side favorite as well. All they need to do on Neon is ensure that this top creep wave is shoved to their favor. And they will have Roche fairly easily, and they're setting up. So, I mean, that was a fight without Roche on, you know, with them still waiting for that next Roche. With this Roche ready to go their way, with a cheese on hand as well, that's going to be the last outer tower to fall, and that should be the threat onto the high ground. Aurora, they want no part of that right now.
Absolutely not. Aurora just seemingly have zero gameplay in this game, number 3. I really can't believe the state of the game, right? Like, you're looking at 78% win chance right now for Neon. For a position in the upper bracket semi-finals. It is just something I don't think many viewers would have expected going into this best of 3. I know you and I were kind of expecting a 2-0 here for the side of Aurora, but Neon, all the practice has certainly looked like it's paid off. They want to perhaps head into the mid lane. To be fair, John, you did predict that Aurora had the better draft, so you did kind of did Neon, you did Neon a bit of a favor.
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
Giving a good old Carl Dimes a happy time when he hears that in draft. Every manager's like, please don't say we have a good draft. They're like, oh, John, please never. Mike, no, don't say we're going to do good. It just makes him not do good. And it's paying off. Neon. Again, one outer tower left here, Mike. Taking an aggressive posture on that triangle.
Send Neon your PayPal information now, John, before the game ends.
Oh, they already have. Carl has it. He's all set.
Very, very good.
We talked about this. This is all pre-planned. Don't you know, Mike, there's a script? Didn't you read the script today? What's wrong with you?
I just
How could you come into work without reading the script? How dare you?
It's been a rough day. Mid lane. Who have they got? Just Ken. Ken's just messing around with them, just holding them in the mid lane.
Ah, you said it, man. He's just Ken.
Oh,
and he's Kenough.
I did say it, didn't I, John?
It's just Ken. He's Kenough. And he's great at doing stuff, Mike. Say, hey, check him out. It's Ken.
I can tell you've listened to the song recently, John. Thank you for that.
No, it just instantly popped back. And you know what popped up as well? An amplified damage rune for good old Ken.
Oh.
So he's definitely more than Kenough.
This is... I mean, I don't mean to change the subject here, John. I don't like the whole amplified damage name. In fact, they didn't even change it on the tooltips. When you bottle it up, it still says...
No, yeah, it still says double damage. But when you activate it, it says amplify damage, and that's what counts.
I don't like it.
It's so weird, right? But,
I know why.
You gotta get used to it.
I know why they've done it, you know, because it doesn't make sense to say double, because it's not double anymore. But it's like, there's a bunch of other stuff that makes no sense in Dota, if we're talking, you know, English. The English language, that is. Why did it have to be double damage?
I think, you know what, I wish they just left it double damage and make it literally do, like, plus 100% spell amp. Now, why not?
Why not?
Just do that. That's the way to go. Make it truly double damage.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing to fix something broken is to break it even more, is the way I see it.
Yeah. Double damage Lina? Why not?
Easy.
Double damage on Laguna Blade? Sure. Go ahead. Double damage Finger Ags? Yes, sir.
Are you forgetting Morphling, John? The Morphling Kanda build.
Oh, God. That would be painful. If only a man can do that.
Yeah, one day. I'm sure he's listening. JG. Cape is not going to find the angle for the Blink skewer back though. Here we go again. Savage, he just spent all his gold on the butterfly jump. We saw this in game 1, I think it was. Careful. No buyback gold available on the Luna. And they are running right towards the area where he's farming at the moment. How far is 1.7k gold required for buyback at the moment? Savage, do not stick. Get out of there, Savage. Get out. Neon, do they want to try and check? It seems as though they will not. They've got to realize he's farming there, though. He's literally going to use the Manta illusions to push out the creep wave.
Could have a rough idea, but Savage is in the position to just TP out now, so he's fine. Not gonna go without buyback just yet. Neon for their part. I mean, they're just hugging triangle. They're playing it smart. You know, they're not taking this massive risk. Aegis is about to expire as well. They might have gotten a glimpse of that butterfly on Savage, as we already had the preemptive queue up on CDR for the MKB, so the evasion's not going to matter too much as well for our Ursa. Aurora, I mean, this is some classic last year Talon gameplay of hugging the high ground and pushing and farming where you can. So they're in familiar territory. Might they smoke out?
This is what pretty much drove all of you crazy during SCA DPC. It's the Talon games. Yeah, I mean,
Even though
at
know.
first I felt bad about not being in SEA last year, and then I watched the Talon games and I was like, you know what? I think I'm liking NA more and more as the days go by.
Hey, you didn't. You know, we had bangers in NA. What do you mean, man? Like Tour 1? With that last match where our offlaner was just clapping when he died? Come on. We don't get that in C. There's just some beautiful player camps. I will never forget. The Legion Commander dueling for no reason just to give away the kill and then clapping away.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
Q, something outstanding. He gets a kick back onto Ken. Problem is, Q is dead.
Is under attack.
BKB popped by JG a little bit early on. Maybe looking for the blink in for the RP. There's a nice double chains out from Ken. Mel's gonna vortex him back as well on the Ember. Ollie's just slowly just being chipped away at with his sleight of fist from the Ember as well, so you've got to be very cautious.
Dire's bottom
There's
tower
still no
is under
buyback gold, by the way, on this Luna. She's still about 350 gold short. She cannot fight without it. Savage desperately trying to farm it up while they are defending high ground. In goes JG. He'll fight an RP out. The skewer will not land, but the Ursa's right on top of Jabs. Jabs trying to run, may just make it barely, and does do so. Now the Eclipse comes out. Perhaps it's the fight that Aurora have been looking for. But for now, they only really find Bombi. And that'll be enough. Neon Esports. They do not want to overextend. They will leave the area. As we have a quick pause.
That they
out.
will.
Castaway's
You
just gonna,
said Savage.
yeah.
Okay. You said Savage would save up for buyback. He went for the Hurricane Pike. And they did say Water Closet. You can't pause for a bathroom break.
Oh, hold on a minute. Savage is throwing the rulebook at them, is he? Oh, look
He
at
is.
that. Castaway, he says, okay, I'm a man of the rules. Hey, sometimes you can take the bottle out, Castaway. Do it the old-fashioned way.
That's pretty much it. And speaking of, again, Savage, he said he'd save up for buyback, Mike. I don't see buyback.
That's true.
I see a Hurricane Pike.
So, you know,
He has no Eclipse, no BKB.
you can take the carry out of SCA, John, but you can't take the SCA out of the carry. Is the way I like to say it. No buyback required here for Savage.
Yeah. I mean, that was a pretty valiant high ground defense from Aurora. The skewer back not lining up. A quick BKB from Jabs to ensure that not quite having the full pullback as well on JG just yet. The Harpoon still being farmed up here for our Mag is leading to, again, the classic Aurora gameplay of holding high ground and trying to drag it out to 45. So we'll see if they'll achieve that.
How are boys grown,
she's-
by the way, John? I just want to say, like, I feel like a year ago, Savage would never throw the rulebook at anyone. But now, he's the first player to speak up. Like, no, you're not going anywhere. Take a seat.
Savage speaks up for a lot. Like, he's spoken about a lot of things in public.
That is true,
Case in point, one Filipino. Neon has two,
Radiant are scanning.
as you pointed out.
Ken,
Dice
gonna
are
break the
scanning.
smoke here on Savage. CDR gonna see Jabs does blink away. Regen Rune found out here by Savage. I'm sure Armel will be very happy about that one.
Over here
Another
now.
Regen Rune here for the Storm.
The timing here into the site of Vice for Armel, it's going to be the big one. That opens up these fights for Aurora. You get that instant Hex out. You get that control. You get the burst onto one. That's your window of opportunity for Aurora to start pushing back against Neon, to climb back into this game. And with Savage going for his full damage coming through here. If he does manage to reach a point where the creep waves are shoved out, they can start to breach onto high ground. Aluna doesn't take too long to melt these towers. You have that set up. Still a minute 20 for Roche. A long timer for Neon as they're trying to camp Roche on. And that's just more time for Aurora to play this farm game, to play catch-up.
Aurora's certainly going to be pretty happy with the time they've been handed over. Savage still top of the network, working on this Luna.
Dire's
for the,
bottom
Lincoln
tower
Sphere
is under
buyout.
attack.
You kind of wonder if Aurora will go for the Roshan fight. You know, like, considering Roshan obviously very, very important at this stage of the game. Thing is, though, if you end up losing the fight, they might just rush you on high ground. There's a bit of an all-in play here for Aurora if they do go for the Roshan counter. Also, update, there is still no buyback on Savage because he just spent all the gold again. So, you know, just assume there's no buyback, yeah?
Needs buyback, Mike. You don't need buyback if you just don't die. That's
right.
a big brain play.
That is a fair point.
Yeah. You don't need BKB if you don't get stunned, you know?
That's true. A loss for John X Fire. Jabs.
The best defense is a good offense, Mike.
Thank you, John. Jabs gonna find Castaway. Oh, Jabs! Gets jumped by CDR.
Oh!
Now the RP comes
Oh!
out! Oh, JG's caught a couple. Jabs will go down. Still, they do find themselves Ken on the Ember. Ken will survive for now, though needs a way out of this situation with the BKB. He'll just run. He'll run the old-fashioned way. Q will go down to the tusk. Ken is still running. He'll jump right back in. Jumps right back out. In fact, he's full HP again.
Got the cheese.
Ember, he can just keep going. The cheese was eaten. Is Ken. Ken remnant back towards the east. Meanwhile, Jabs needs to get the hell out of there. 20C Savage wants to keep the fight going here on the Luna.
Armel?
Armel is gone again. Ken is still dancing around them all together as Savage. Savage, has he gone too far? I think he may have. He needs to go for the team fight, or rather just the man fight, I think. But he is gone. No buyback available, John X Fire. Meanwhile,
He thought he didn't need it.
they're on to Ken still. Ken is still not dead. Ken is still going. Somebody tell Ken the fight's over.
Fighting is never over, as the band Urban Dub would sing in their song, like a band that you missed out on in APAC as well. Very good band. No, actually, we were forced to listen to them. Right, but still, the fighting is never over. Roshan will fall for the side of Neon, and this is that opening we were looking for
Was
Neon.
never over either, John, let me tell you from Urban Dub. You know, if we're gonna be, you know, the songs just never stop. They really
Oh no, it wasn't Urban Dub that never ended. It was Sponge Cola. It never ended.
Sponge Cola. That's a name
Yeah,
I've
Sponge
tried
Cola.
to wipe from my memory, John, after that day.
It was amazing, though. You gotta admit,
Sure it was, John.
bang for your buck performance for sure.
Sure
Yeah,
was
I loved it.
I know you did, John. You told me a few times, trust me. I know. CDR. It's gonna be one of the high ground here. Tier 3 towers.
Radiant structures are fortified.
You know, the sad thing is I could imagine Tim's yelling again in that one. Completely out of top.
Under attack.
Tim's just yelling, yeah, start the game!
Radiant's top tower
As they
is
rip into the high ground. Completely unrelated. Sorry about that, Tims. Rack set to fall. Savage, look, he's respawning. Mike, he didn't need buyback. Just respawn. Easy.
He might need it for the next fight, though, John. He's
I
quite
just
a
respawn again.
Everyone's right behind CDR, smoked up here. CDR. He's got 2 lives available for the next 4 minutes. It's kind of hard for him to be afraid, but he is going to be hesitant. Play it safe. Back off for now. Chains out on to Q. In fact, they'll get a nice 4-staff off. Who the hell was that? Somebody 4-staff Q out of the base. Armel's going to jump in. He'll try onto the supports, but nobody's taking damage yet. He'll try onto Savage. Now Savage will get caught by an RP. They are still trying to get through his HP pool. CDR's right on top, though. And now the chains out Ken. He will lock him down again. No buyback available for the Luna. Can Armel do it? Can Armel hold for his team? CDR, very low, trying to go further. May just lose the Aegis here. It seems as though Neon, in the meantime, they smell blood in the water. They want to go for the jugular.
Radiant's middle barracks
This is their opening. They know Savage has no buyback. They know there's no buybacks at all on Aurora. They're going to be forced to play defensive. There's no way Armel can try to play offensively with no secondary life. It's going to be the Mega Creeps coming out in rather short fashion in Neon. I mean, this is just quite the start for Neon in the closed qualifiers for ESL One Birmingham. Taking one game off of Aurora would have been a big story enough on its own, but taking a series as well in such strong fashion.
It's,
Oh, man.
It's something I don't think many people are expecting, but it's certainly happening right now. They're waiting for Q to come up. Q does have the axe, so you do have the kick back into the fountain. That's pretty much the only play left, I think. Armel's going to jump in. They'll try for the kickback onto the Ember, but it's not quite far enough. So they do have the Science of Ice set up here from Armel, but it's just doing not enough damage, not enough control. And now Armel, he's just trapped up. He will at least get back to the fountain, though barely. 13 more seconds for Savage. The game is not over. Back to the Megas, boys. There's still one range rack standing. In fact, Aurora, they're going to try and hold down. Ken is down. That is a dieback on the Ember. Hold on a gosh darn minute. They did not take
Oh,
Megas. They left the range barracks. Oh, Castaway scored out there. Castaway scored.
Oh boy, Neon.
Oh, there's 216 HP on that range rack. Oh,
Yeah, just one swipe.
what are you doing?
Savage could have buyback gold now. I wonder if he's actually going to farm it up or just buy out this Daedalus. I don't think he has the slot, so surely Savage is going to be saving for that buyback now. 800 away. Opportunities for the high ground opening up.
If Savage is a
RP
real
is
man,
ready
he
to
won't
go
do it.
on JG.
He will
Ah,
win
no,
the-
you know Savage.
He will win the game without having buyback gold, just to prove us wrong. That's what a real player would do.
Yeah, for sure. See if that pulls out. No respawn for Ken for a minute 10. And I don't think his team is enough without him. So you're going to have to give that up. High ground, a very distinct possibility. Heck, even just endgame now for Aurora. Actually, very, very much possible with a shortcoming in manpower for Neon. It's going to be down to position. It's going to be down to JG. If they do force this out on the side of Aurora.
Oh, RP's out.
There you go.
They've got Savage. They have got Savage again. He's going to try and BKB through this one.
Snowball
the snowball will save. Q buys a bit more time. Maybe Savage can get out of there. The 4-staff away. He's going to make it. He is
No
going to make
buyback.
it though. Bombi catches them with disruption, but it's not enough. Savage, he is still perfectly fine. He will move back into the tier 3 tower.
What a bash!
Oh, bashes out. CDR still trying. Does get Armel. Savage gonna try and back his way out. It's too late though. He is down, but he'll buy back again. They've got to go for the all-in play. It seems.
Aegis expired?
Aegis does expire. Savage has to walk up the old-fashioned way. Castaway in the meantime has been caught. It'll be another hero down by the seams of it though. No, he does end up bouncing away. But they've got the Luna behind them if they do need it. Still, they are going to back their way up as we have another damage Emperor.
Still, it's a little bit of a tricky one to still try to pierce that high ground. Respawn time isn't that long on Neon. And the creep wave not close enough to instantly threaten Aurora. This is their opening though. Need to force something out, but it's a risk if Savage dies now.
Savage, he could die now. CDR going to jump in with the enraged pop, immediately trying to go after Q, but no, he wants jabs first with the Razor. In fact, he's getting kited very, very hard. Snowball's going to come out onto the Ursa. That was a Lotus Orb usage. CDR, he's dropping low. CDR is gone, but he'll buy back. The Ursa is back into the fight. Savage now dropping low. There goes Jabs. Savage needs a way out. In comes Ollie to save the day. He'll hex up the Ember. Ken is still alive. Ken is still alive.
Oh my
He will
god!
get his way out. Savage, he will also survive for the time being. Meanwhile, Ollie will go down. There's only one hero left. It is only Savage against the world. And the chase is on. Savage,
Oh.
he will barely TP away. But how do you hold the base by yourself? How does he 1v5?
I don't think you can. He doesn't have enough.
They'll get the Megas first. Secure the Mega Creeps this time around. Onto the tier 4 towers. Glyph will be forced. 15 seconds for Armel to be back. It's 15 seconds. It just feels too long.
Oh!
There's a buyback now. Jabs.
Oh,
He finally
what?
gets it on
Bobby!
cooldown. The RP was completely with you, JG. This is going to go after the Ancient, and it's just completely exposed. This game is over. Neon Esports, they have pulled off the upset up against Aurora, finding a 2-1 victory. I can't believe I'm saying those words, but they are going to make it through the upper bracket.